Plenty of time.
I got home and she's all, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" She's all, "Do you have reverse body dysmorphia? Where like you think you can do things that are just
you do.
You
totally do.
I'm like jujitsu, Muay Thai. Apparently, I'm running a 5K. What the fuck? You know?
Are you gonna cry on every podcast, Jay? Are you gonna cry on every podcast?
Dude. I'm like, I really.
I remember, I'll never forget sitting here, and I laughed. I didn't think nothing of it. I just thought it was fucking funny. But are you really gonna cry on every podcast?
Welcome to Get Heavy Podcast. Your host, Craig Casamas and Big J Curran.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast.
What up? What up? What up?
We're coming at you live from the studio. Kenny's got this thing looking pretty good, dude. Hey, congrats, Kenny. You're fucking kicking ass,
you're doing
dude.
good, man.
I know Jane would never say it, but I really think you're doing a great job, dude.
Yeah, no, man. Why would I say it? You should just be doing your fucking job and not fucking tripping and shit. Fucking relax, homie.
Yeah.
Ain't that big of a deal. Smoke a bowl. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I love it, dude. Yeah. It's looking really nice in here, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're doing a fantastic job. You really
Anyway, podcast. It's Monday. The eclipse just happened, and we're fucking still here, dude.
Yep.
Did you watch it at all?
No.
Not even for a second.
Nope. Didn't even.
Care. Did you notice it getting a little dimmer?
I was in the shop drilling holes in pipe.
That's what she said.
That's exactly what she said. And I appreciate her for it.
Yeah.
And,
No, I watched it for a second. We got minimal coverage. It wasn't nearly as cool as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was like ready for just packing shit up and survival mode. That's what I was ready for.
Were you really?
No, but
okay.
I wanted it.
Like
I wanted it. I wanted it. You know what I mean? But it didn't happen. So here we are, still podcasting. I was hoping this was going to get me out of this shit, but apparently
you're welcome,
it's
guys.
Never. Yeah. So we're here, dude, and we're podcasting today, Monday, the eclipse day. It actually did look pretty cool everywhere else in the country. Did you
really?
see it? Yeah.
No.
I saw some videos from New York and Texas where they got the full, because we only got like 30% of it.
Yeah.
So it was like, whatever. But Texas and fucking that path that it was on.
Yeah. Texas needs to get eclipsed. Like totally eclipsed.
Yeah.
Just burn them all out.
All of them?
Man, a bunch of dumb rednecks, man.
We already got
all
England
these
mad at
fucking
us.
everybody.
Texas
fuck
mad at
these
us,
Texans, dude. If they were as good at half as good as they thought they were, the whole state would be a much better place. But I went through there, dude, and it was just a bunch of guys doing inappropriate stuff with cows.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of it, huh?
A lot, dude. Yeah.
Damn.
Everybody has a step stool in the back of their truck for some reason. I don't know what's going on. I'm not into it.
They do say that sheep's pussies are the most human-like.
Yeah, but you don't need a step stool for it. Well, you might need a step stool for a sheep, but
down,
right? I'm hip high.
I could fuck on my tipsy toes.
Toes.
Tipsy toes.
Criminy.
Yeah.
Have you been drinking all day too?
No, I have not actually. No, I haven't, and it's pretty sad actually.
Yeah.
I had one beer, and now I feel.
And 2 shots?
No, I had one.
Oh.
I had a shot. Yeah. But you've been drinking all day.
I've been drinking all day.
And driving all day.
Well, I haven't been driving.
Oh, you've been riding?
Yeah.
How was your ride, by the way? We both went on separate rides today, and we both thought about texting each other the whole time, but we knew why we wouldn't.
Yeah.
And how was your ride?
It was very, very, very therapeutic.
Yeah.
And I know that if you're a writer, you understand this. If you're not a writer, you see the post and you probably think that it's bullshit, or you just, think that we're just throwing it out there, but it's very, very therapeutic.
It is, man.
Today's the 4-year anniversary of losing my wife. And it's been a very hard day.
Yeah.
And getting on my bike and cruising down the coast, crying horrendously under my helmet as I'm driving by the beach, because there's nothing outside of her family that she loved more than the ocean.
Right.
That was her connection. It's what made her happy. When we would have an issue or a problem, or if there was something going on with her in her life, the first thing she would do is go down to the beach and just sit there and listen to the waves and chill and center and feel better about herself and better about whatever's going on, or not, and just came back and make me Realized
sandwich.
whatever I did
Oh.
was stupid.
She'd make you a sandwich.
Yeah, man.
Whatever she was going through,
Yeah.
she came back and made you a sandwich.
Yeah. Nope. No. But just getting out there and writing, it felt so good, dude.
Yeah, man.
And it made me really realize how much of my grief, how the stages and the different thing that you go through in your grief, when it first happens, you're scared to lose anything and everything that has a connection to her. Everything. And I mean everything. It doesn't matter if it's an earring, if it's a shirt,
Right.
if it's whatever it is, everything that is part of our life, I just don't want to give it up, and that included some friendships and relationships with family and all these different things that, at one point in time, up until the point of her leaving, I have these group of friends that I look out as family. These are people that I go out of my way to do stuff for and take care of, and they're part of my life, and I'm there for them, and I love them to death, and I'll do anything for them, and there's nothing more important to me than them in my life, and then she leaves and she's gone. And then not very long, but as time goes on, you realize that you're the only one that thought like that. And then you go through this stuff where you don't know how to deal with it, and you finally start letting it go. But you just really do realize that your commitment and your love that you felt was for all of these different people because of her, or because you're with her. And then that catalyst of this love and this relationship and stuff is gone. And then you realize that you have really nothing to do with any of it. There's a couple of people, very few, very, 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 very few, that I talk to in any type of relationship since she's gone.
Right.
And these are people that we went camping with and did vacations with and talked to, and if they needed stuff done, I would help them, and they were a major part of my life for the 10 years that I was with her. And then not more than about 5 minutes after she was gone, I've lost connection with all of them.
Right.
And it's really torn me up, man.
Yeah.
And I've just really in this last year especially, and even today though, when I do my rides, when I say that I'm literally, as I'm riding down the road, I'm just fucking tears streaming down my face, and I miss my wife so much, and I miss the life that we had together and the things that we do and the people that we were with. But you also realize that you have to kind of realize that you just got to keep doing.
Right.
You got to keep being and keep doing. And I think about her every single day. It hurts every single day. I miss her so much, but you also have to realize that it's just all through our lives we have, you definitely understand this.
Yeah.
All through our lives we have sections that we go through. We all have different little things and sections that we go through. You go through first grade up till you get to junior high. And those are a memory. Mm-hmm. And then you get into junior high and you start dealing with that chaos. Mm-hmm. And there's a memory.
Right.
Then you get into high school and there's a memory.
Right.
And then as you get older, you start thinking, well, okay, this memory is now a permanent memory and this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's gone.
Right.
And then you're starting a whole new thing. And you want to try to keep these things because they mean so much to you. They mean so much to your heart. But then you realize that for whatever reason, they don't have that same relationship with you.
Right.
And it's, almost everybody.
Right.
And you don't know, I don't know what I may trigger in them. So when I see them, do I trigger something in them to where they get they don't want to be around me, or they don't want to talk to me, or they don't or do they feel whatever it is? Because part of the grief, there's the 5 steps of grief. One of those steps is anger and resentment.
Right.
2 of them, anger and resentment.
Right.
So do they have resentment against me because of whatever? I don't know. Or are they, when they see me, do they have a certain feeling that they get, whatever that feeling is,
Right.
that,
Right.
you know, is whatever it is. You know, and I don't hold a resentment against any of these people. Nobody. There's not one of them that I hold a resentment against. It just really hurts.
Yeah.
You know, it really, 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 you know, I love her son to death. He hasn't talked to me in like 3 years. And
Right.
last night I had a vivid dream about him.
Really.
Yeah. Showed up wearing a black top hat and a green velour suit.
You were in that?
He was looking all G. We were
Oh,
all
he
partying,
was?
and yeah, he was.
okay.
He had a black bowler hat and a velvet green suit, and he showed up just dancing around, being the shit. You know, he's so fucking cool, and you know, he hasn't talked to me in almost 3 years, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, and every once in a while I send him a text, but I don't get nothing back. Wow. You know, but I still try. You know, and I do the same thing with, you know, with everybody. And you want to keep trying, but you don't know what to do because you don't get.
It's weird, man. You find out like when shit really hits the fan, some people are equipped to deal with grief, and some people are absolutely not.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And you really find out like who's in it for the long haul and who is not in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not going to speak about Portia or her family or any of that shit or your situation at all. But like even when Rosie was going through cancer, you know, and it was scary, you know, and I was like 90% sure she wasn't going to fucking die. But we saw some of our friends fucking met the challenge and were there for us and did the thing. And some of them fucking disappeared, dude.
And it's crazy.
And it is crazy. And you can't fault them for that.
No.
You know what I mean? At all. Because first of all, I want to say that 4 years, you have come 4 years since this has happened, and I remember it fucking sent shockwaves through Ventura.
Yeah.
You know, your wife was a true light and a beacon and a fucking lighthouse. Like, for anyone that needed anything, she was incredible, right? And I didn't know her very well. I'm not going to act like I did. And I'm so glad that I did know her in the way that I did, but
she was a moral compass.
She really was.
For
you know what
so
I mean?
many people.
So many people. And when someone like that goes, everyone has these beautiful memories and these beautiful thoughts of the person, and they don't ever often think about the ramifications and what's left behind and what has to be picked up and dealt with. And I will say, dude, that you have handled this fucking beautifully. You know what I mean? And I fucking love you for that. And you have taken the loss and you have created a space for people at your bar to be fucking positive and have a great time. And you've done a lot. And we were talking a little bit about this before we came over here. Like, you would have never done that. You know what I mean? Had she been around, because she was your life.
Yeah.
And I just think that is a true testament to the person that you have become, because we know the person you used to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, a little
and
different.
for those of you who don't know Jay, and I didn't know him back then, and I'm glad I didn't, because I would have not liked him at all. But the person that you have become in this loss, I mean, for the most people, it would be fucking overdone forever, right? You have taken that and you have turned it into something beautiful, and you live your life, and it's fucking amazing to see, man. You know, because when we first started this podcast, you were a year out of this.
Yeah.
And that is a crazy ask. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? For someone to be...
Are you going to cry on every podcast, Jay? Are you going to cry on every podcast?
Dude. I'm like, I really
I'll never forget sitting here, and I laughed. I didn't think nothing of it. I just thought it was fucking funny. But are you really going to cry on every podcast?
Right.
Well, I don't know.
Not everyone. But yeah, I mean, but it's nice, you know.
Yeah.
And that's... But I will say that, like, what you have done since that fucking tragic event has been incredible, dude.
Yeah.
And I really, really appreciate you for it, dude.
One of the things, just so you you would never have not wanted to hang out with her.
I know, I would have loved to hang out with you.
What she taught me and what I learned through her is that everything doesn't have to be a Dickies outfit. You know what I mean?
She taught you how to dress?
No. She didn't teach me how to dress, and she'd have been the first one to tell you that. My sister Danielle would tell you the same thing. Nobody taught me how to dress. I learned how to dress watching Moore's Day and the Time, and
That explains a lot.
watching Caddyshack,
Explains a lot.
and it really does. But what I learned from her, and really became to understand, is I don't need to do that. I don't need to be like this gangster dude. Like, I don't have to be on point all the
Right.
time. I can just relax and be myself. And then I still get the same type of respect.
Right.
But I don't have to always think that I need to earn that respect or be that. You know what I mean? I just get to go and have a good time and
Right.
and do what I want to do.
Right.
You know, and she would fucking clown me about my outfits when I'd walk out the
Right.
house, because I'd have fucking yellow socks and blue pants and a fucking green shirt and all. And she's like, "You literally look like a kindergartner dressed himself as you walk out the door."
And it's still consistent
Oh,
to this day.
I'm so happy with that. I am so fucking happy with that. When she would say that, I'd get all happy and rosy cheeked and just so stoked that she's like, because she said it with just smiles and loves.
Right.
There was no criticism to it.
It goes to show you that women can literally love anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Were you and do you mind talking about this stuff?
Anything,
I have some
whatever.
questions. Because I don't know the origin of you and her. Like, I do a little bit, but like, were you still in that mentality, like that, like gangster kind of mentality, or had you gotten out of it at that point?
I didn't know. It's the edge.
I'm just trying to figure out what she saw in you.
Well, I did. I wondered that myself. What?
How did you guys meet?
We met years ago in NA.
NA.
Yeah,
Okay.
we met in the program like in 93, 94,
Okay.
95. And when we met, she was married.
Okay.
Her husband was best friends previously with somebody that became my best friend.
Okay.
And so I knew them through that. But they were kind of more Ojai,
Okay.
and I was Oxnard.
Right.
So I didn't understand, I immediately assumed when I met them that they were judging me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No,
Yeah.
they put off those vibes. that's
Yeah,
for sure.
and so-
Ojai people do that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, Ojai, but
No. But so I kind of assumed that, and then she ended up getting divorced. And I saw her throughout the years, and every time I saw her, we'd say hi to each other and we'd talk a little bit. And,
Right.
she was always a sweetheart, but she always carried herself with a certain reservation, always, And so we would always say hi. We'd always talk to each other. But I always thought that not from the later years, but from those early years, I always thought that she was kind of judging me. And then I ended up going through a divorce at the same time she was going through a divorce, and we'd both been single for probably 7 or 8 months or a year or whatever it was. And she was with somebody else at the time. His name's Mark, and he's no longer with us, but she was with Mark. And me and Mark saw her, and her and I had talked, and I was with Mark, and we were at the sewer talking. And I was just talking to the dude. We were just having a conversation.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, when I first met, and this is just, I was like, when I first met her, I kind of thought she was a bitch, but it wasn't like, it wasn't like I said, oh, she's a cunt. I was just kind of, I thought she was a little bit Ojai,
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
stuck
I get
up.
it.
And,
Yeah.
and him and I talked about this stuff. And then her and I ended up meeting and hanging out. And then we started going, we just ended up hanging out a lot together. And then I remember I was sitting at Bombay's. I was at Bombay's about 2-3 weeks ago, and I was standing at Bombay's, and it completely tore me up because I was standing right at the spot where I was sitting, because Bombay's used to have a booth in the corner, and I would always sit in that booth because you could see the whole bar.
Everything. Yeah.
And so I was sitting there. I'll never forget. I was sitting there, and she was standing right next to me on her phone, but she was standing right next to me, and it was just me and her.
Right.
And I remember thinking to myself, oh shit,
Yeah.
she likes me.
Yeah.
You know, but I had not even thought about anything about
Right.
that, at that time. And then I started more pursuing her.
Right.
And we ended up hanging out, and pretty quickly got to, we hooked up and really started really enjoying each other's company. But I did some dumb shit, dude.
Did you?
Like, I was because I was just completely like on self-destruction mode. I literally totally
really?
was like, I was in a party mode. I was drinking insane. I was completely just, like I was just not dealing with shit that I had to deal with. And she just kind of let me know, hey, you're being an asshole. And if you're going to continue to be an asshole, that's fine. She didn't say it this way, but that's what she was saying.
Right.
She literally was like, hey, look, I really enjoy hanging out with you. If you are going to continue to act and behave the way that you've been behaving, then I'm not going to. So if you want to keep hanging out with me, you should probably either change your ways or we're going to not be together.
That's a strong woman.
Yeah.
That's a fucking strong woman, dude.
Yeah. And I literally went, okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. Give me a couple days. And then I didn't drink for a year.
Wow.
I immediately just was like, okay, I'm going to quit drinking.
Yeah.
And I didn't touch any booze for a year, and worked on myself and thought about what I was doing and how I was acting and how I could change things and why I was acting the way I was, because I was in a very self-destructive mode. And then I just changed it, man. And was,
Yeah.
So her dude, his name is Mark LeQuow. I know I said that wrong. And I know that there's people that are going to listen and they know who he is, and I'm sure you probably know who he was. But he was about 6'4".
Oh.
And he was probably, no, he wasn't probably. He was 300 plus pounds.
Well, Portia was,
Yeah.
she's a big girl, dude.
He was 300 and
Yeah.
and like 8% body fat.
Wow.
Just a monster of a man.
Yeah.
And I remember her and I were like, I was like, okay, this is a thing. He was working at Ventura Theater, and I walked with her. We were walking into the sewer to go have a drink. And I looked across the street, and he was standing across the street. And I went, all right. So I walked her into the bar, and I sat her down. I said, hey, I'll be right back. I got to take care of something real quick. And I walked across the street, and I walked up to him, and I went, hey, are we going to have a problem?
Yeah.
Is there going to be a problem at some point? Because if there's going to be a problem, let's figure it out now. And he goes, just be good to her. And I went, I will always be good to her. So are we good? And he's all, yeah, we're good. And I went, all right, cool.
That's awesome, man.
Man, that walk across the street, though, I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, here we go.
You're just cracking the knuckles, fucking stretching,
oh
dude.
my God. It was going to be not fun.
Yeah.
Not fun. He was
Yeah.
a monster, man.
Yeah.
And then, he ended up doing what he did. But, just through her and understanding and just realizing, also just getting to an age where I was like, well, are you going to continue to always be like this?
Yeah.
And I've always been fun. I've always been a good guy. I've always
Sure.
had this, but I also had a bit of an edge, that I, through her encouragement and positivity and her letting me know that the positive stuff that I would do. Cause I'd go out of my way to do things for people.
Yeah,
Like, hey, hey, can somebody help me out? My kids need socks for soccer.
Right.
Needs cleats. If you guys
Yeah.
can help me. And
Yeah.
no, man, here, I'd immediately be like, okay, hey, look, I'm going to come over there. What size cleats?
Right.
He's going to need shin pads. He's going
Right.
to need socks.
Right.
What else does he need?
Yeah.
And then immediately just went and I didn't do this for any other reason than I didn't have that as a kid.
Right,
I
yeah,
didn't get
yeah.
cleats. I didn't get shins. I didn't
Yeah.
get to play soccer.
Right.
So I was like, well, let me take care of this because I want this kid to not have to go through what I went
Totally,
through, and it's
yeah.
going to make everybody happy.
Yeah. It's
and little
a
things like that.
Of, like why I overcompensate on my children, dude, and make sure they have the opportunity to do everything they want to try.
Whatever they want.
Right. And my mom, I'm not going to take anything away from my mom, financially was fucked. She worked her ass off to give us anything we wanted to try, she'd give us. I remember begging her to want to join football and getting in and being like, I hate football. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like when you
seem like such a dude that would have played football.
I was not mad. I wasn't mean, dude. I was not mean.
Yeah,
I wasn't mean. I was fat, and I also was not mean. So I was in a division higher than myself. I was like playing with 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
Right before high school, and I just was getting fucking smashed. You know what I mean? That was the only thing I've ever quit in my entire life. Like football.
I got kicked off the football team.
Yeah, did you for being mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wasn't mean. I didn't get mean till I was like 15. Then I got really
because I didn't
mean.
play really well. No, I played football in junior high up in Washington State,
Right.
and I killed it. I did great.
Right.
I was not friends with one person on the football team.
Right. Oh,
you know,
you were kidding.
no, the only person that I was friends with was the coach, and the only
Yeah.
reason I played was because the coach,
coach,
who
yeah.
ended up, and I don't know that it's true, and I'll never say his name. Not that any of it matters, because nobody even knows what state it was in. But
Washington.
yeah, he ended up getting accused of fucking around with kids.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but here's my whole thing about that is, and whatever, I know your response to this, but I did in class suspension with him a lot, a lot.
Do you have a lot of gray memories?
Oh no, not that
blacked
we.
out?
I learned about the Kennedy assassination.
So he was grooming your ass, dude.
We sat there and he was like, "Hey, so what do you think about how this all worked out? What do you think?"
Right.
And like, here, read this and look into this. And I love to read, so I would read about all this different
Right.
stuff. And he's like, "So what do you think about this?" It was never nothing.
Well,
like it was just
that's
we
the
sat
thing, like-
there and talked about all this
Yeah.
different fucking like great stuff. We had great conversations. I liked going to
Right.
suspension because you know, I would sit there and have these conversations with him. That he was an adult, I'm a kid, but I'm way more intellectually advanced than most of the kids in my
Right,
class.
right.
So him and I would sit there and have these great conversations. You know, and I fucking history conversations, the Kennedys and all these different historical things that we would
Right.
talk about that I found fascinating.
Yeah, well,
You know?
I mean, when you're a strong kid and you look like you're definitely going to tattle or fight for your life, you know what I mean? Maybe it changes
never, not once, ever, never even kind of once felt any type of anything.
Any type of
And
way.
you and I have talked about we
Right.
have that
Oh,
sense
yeah.
of
Yeah,
awareness
yeah.
that,
The spidey
but
sense.
there was never
Yeah.
nothing. And I was with him a lot, dude.
Yeah.
I either was in-house suspension, in detention, or suspended from that school
Wow.
more than I was in the school.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I had the principal tell me, you will never amount to nothing but being a little truck driving worthless piece of shit.
Right.
His exact words.
Wow.
To a kid in junior high.
Right.
You're a worthless piece of shit and you're never going to be nothing but a fucking truck driver.
Which makes sense because truck drivers are
Idiots.
Shit.
That's not the point right now.
so
we're not
dumb,
getting
we could
into
spend a whole
that.
fucking hour on that.
Yeah, we could, but I'm not because I have some really
You know
good
what
friends
happens
that are
if you
good
lose
truck
half your
drivers.
brain? You could still be a truck
Truck
driver.
driver, yeah. We're not getting into all that. But he was,
Yeah.
the whole experience at that school was horrible. But one of the only
Was that
positive
in
things
Ventura?
was him.
No,
no,
that
I was in
Wa-
Washington
up
State.
in
Yeah.
Washington. Okay.
Prairie Ridge.
Man, you know, there's nothing that fucking would make me want to prove a fuck you than a teacher that didn't believe in your ass, dude. You know what I mean? Like, and for all the teachers I had that said shit, you know, I got held back in the first grade because I couldn't read. There was like a lot of things going on, which also coincided with my parents being divorced. You know what I mean? At the same time, just turmoil at home. You know what I mean? And I had teachers that were like, "Are you retarded? Like, you're retarded, right?" And I'm like, I don't know what that word means, but I also don't know what these words mean. You know what I mean? And teachers, just people fucking doubting you, man. Like, it puts a chip on your shoulder.
And they have
That is unfucking real, you know. So it's like part of me thanks them for doing that because I'm such a psycho-driven dude now. You know what I mean? But the other part of me is like, God damn. Like, luckily I had a mom at home that was wildly encouraging for anything. You know what I mean? So I had the little bit of both. You know what I mean? But a fucking bad teacher, dude, you know, will do as much damage as a good teacher will do good. You know what I mean?
I've had a couple of good teachers, but most of them were not, and most of them were just not even existent.
Right. They're
and there was not necessarily quite a few of them. There was, again, all in junior high. High school was totally different, but all junior high and before, I've had teachers threaten to beat me up. I've yeah, I had one specific teacher that told me, "You figure this shit out, or when you come to school, I'm gonna smack you in your fucking mouth." Yeah.
Did you deserve it?
Nah,
No.
not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Well, it was a different time. You were in the 70s, right? I mean, early 80s?
Early 80s.
Early 80s.
Yeah, but it wasn't even that. It was, I
They just got done
it's-
beating kids at school.
well, no,
Like,
it's
you know
also,
what I mean?
it's look, man, you know what you have in front of you as an adult.
Right.
And you can take that and work with it, or you can take that and respond to it like the other kids around you are responding. And I think that a lot of these teachers and adults were just responding to how much everybody else didn't like me.
Right. You think so?
Oh, dude. I wish I was joking.
Yeah.
I really,
Yeah.
really, really wish I was joking. It
Yeah.
was fucking horrendous, man. I remember not necessarily thinking that I wanted to kill myself, but I remember thinking how much I wish everybody else didn't hate me,
Right.
and how bad that it made me feel, because I was like you. I was just like King.
Yeah.
I was just a good person,
Yeah.
and just trying to get through this stuff, and just was fucking tortured.
Yeah.
And it didn't stop until I was about 16, and I moved to Oxnard, and everybody was poor. And
Right,
then
right.
at a certain point, I just fucking went, nah, I'm not doing this anymore, and just
Right.
started fucking cracking people in the mouth.
Yeah.
And
It's
everything
changed. It's like a weird thing, like that switch that happened. I'm seeing it in my son right now. Like, he's totally 13, just like he's totally turning into a different person.
Testosterone.
It's testosterone, but it's like he's not being mean. He's just like, you can tell, like, when I'm talking to him, he's like, fuck you, dude. And I'm like, all right, I get it. I see it coming, you know what I mean? And it's a natural switch in boys, but when you've had, like, growing up how you grew up, you were the poor kids in a situation, right? Where I was always a poor kid in a poor situation.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we're all in this together, you know what I mean? And I had to fight for my own right, like being a white kid in a Mexican neighborhood. That, that whole thing happened. But that's what made me fucking, like, switch to be like, I have to survive, dude. Like, I can't live like this anymore. Like, running, like, wondering if I can walk to 7-Eleven without having a fucking problem, And that's what made me fucking, like, switch into being a mean little shit, But when, like, boys your age, like, when you're just wanting someone to fucking, when you have no support and you want someone to fucking just like you for you. Like, anybody, dude.
Yeah.
It makes sense, like, why you're overcompensator now. You go out of your way. You do shit for people that I'm like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it makes sense, And it's not that it's not a flaw at all. You know what I mean? It's like the thing that I'm like a step back where I'm like, no, we're not doing that, dude.
Yeah.
But I learned in a different way to, like, there's a lot of power in no, you know what I mean? And people taking advantage of your kindness for no return whatsoever, And I'm not saying you do this now. You do it beautifully now, but I just, that makes sense, actually, for you just want anyone. You wanted anyone to fucking like you back in then, what I mean?
It was, and it.
But I was
it
loved
definitely
at
flipped
home,
around.
and that's what I felt.
Well, no, that is the one place where everything was good.
Yeah.
And I went to one school up in Belfair, and when I went to that school, it was kind of like a little. I don't know if why, but just the terminology is it was like a trifecta. It was like this perfect moment in time where we lived in a log cabin out in the woods, and there was no TV. No radio,
right?
No nothing. We lived there for over a year, or about a year, I think. And at the same time that happened, they realized that I had a reading deficiency, and they put me in a reading program.
Okay.
That focused heavily on teaching me how to read correctly and to speed read. And at the same time, my dad's fucking throwing Louis L'Amour books at me, and Louis L'Amour and The Destroyer, and just all these just great books, for a teenage boy to be reading.
Yeah.
But it made me then I started, and then reading Lou, the more you start getting, you want that cowboy mentality, you want that
totally.
moral compass,
Yeah.
That surprisingly enough is what the Aryan Brotherhood's based off of.
Oh, hey now.
Yeah, I know it's a trip, but it's true.
Yeah.
If you ever, they talk about their tattoos or the brand,
Right.
and the brand is part of all of that comes from reading Zane Grey and Louis L'Amour and stuff.
Yeah,
insane.
it's trippy. I mean, that whole thing, you know what I mean? Like, because it's a generation of lost children, you know what I mean, that had no direction and no fucking guidance. And then you get taken in. Like, the racism thing is unique. It's not unique to Ventura, but it's unique to any, like, a lot of you get a lot of notice on the plight of, like, young black kids or Mexican kids that are underprivileged and poor. And I'm not saying poor white people at all, but there is a reason that, like, poor white kids become racist because they might find this thing that someone finally fucking accepts them.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, it's a really
yeah.
weird, like,
Yeah.
because that's like I was raised around that shit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I became, like, a little more conscious as a human that I thought, this is fucking gross.
And if you're watching any
You know
of the
what I mean?
media throughout the years, the media never portrays. The media is black people are taking welfare, black people are taking this,
right.
black
You get
people,
told a lot of things. Yeah.
And
the media is inherently racist.
It's
as
so
shit,
bad, dude. It is
it
so
advances
bad.
that.
I remember
fucking
talking
culture.
to my dad about it one day, and I'm like, man, I just don't understand, Pops. And he goes, son, go sit down and look at the news. You watch the news for an hour, and you'll never see one positive thing about a black person.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I'm all, what do you mean, Dad? He's like, go sit down and check it out.
Yeah, seriously.
He's right.
Yeah.
You'll never see a positive, a church in the community that helps
That's doing
support
incredible
everybody and
shit.
doing good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
They'll show that, and then they'll show, C-Mac walking around gangster fucking throwing up signs and shit,
Yeah,
holding a 40 and
Yeah, advancing the fucking fear
Yeah.
of the black community.
Yeah.
You know? But when you're a little kid, and I was raised in the desert, and there was a lot of racial tension when I
and not a lot
when
of
I was a
black
kid.
people in the desert.
There wasn't a lot, but there was started in Lancaster. There was starting to be because they had just turned to L.A. County.
Yeah.
And they were starting to build all
And-
sorts of shit.
And
you know what I
having
mean?
family that moved from Oxnard to Lancaster,
Mm-hmm.
it started to get to where there was no jobs in Ventura County
Right.
for black people.
Right.
And it
Or
started-
LA, or
yeah,
they're gentrifying
yeah.
everything.
Well,
you know?
you could, but Ventura County is a small, pretty much community and there's not a lot of stuff to do, and a lot of racist. A lot of segregation and racial differences within the community. That's horrible, and I that comes from somebody that's been a part of it and
Right.
watched it, and not actually have to deal with it myself, but watching my family go through this stuff, and them going, nah, man, we're moving to Riverside.
Yeah.
We're moving like 4 of them moved to Riverside and Lancaster and moved
Right.
out there, and then moved to Vegas, and but everybody got out of Oxnard. There's
Yeah, it happens everywhere, man. It's a weird thing when you're young and you're trying to fucking figure out an identity. You know what I mean? And if your identity is based off being the bad kid, that's always in trouble. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you can either jump into that identity and run with it until you become the fucking villain, or you really, you know what I mean? Like, you figure out another way, and that's what I did, and that's what I know you did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
Jail
beautiful,
was
dude.
like looking at long-term prison time was
That'll
a serious
do it.
deterrent for
yeah.
me.
Some people it will. Some people it's like, let's go,
But
dude.
if you don't like my family, no matter what our dysfunction is, our family loves the shit out of each other.
Right.
We all have a love for each other that's, I can't even, I mean, everybody has their family and they understand this, but our
Right.
dedication from my family that I got was like, I'm going to go away for 10 years and not watch my nieces grow up.
What the fuck?
I'm not going to, I'm not going to see all these different
Right.
things, and that changed everything,
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, everything gets better,
Right.
and to carry this all around and meeting Portia and being with her, and then I started to understand that like the person and the life that I lived really doesn't exist, and it hadn't existed. Like it had been gone. Like
Right.
I'm not doing all this dirt and doing these things, and it's not the person that I am, and I'm around other people that appreciate me and love
Right.
me because of the person who I am.
Right.
But she just like watching her appreciate me doing these little things, and not because I was trying to impress anybody or I wanted something out of it. I did it because I love people. And it's the
Right.
same thing I still do. Like you said, I still go out on my way to help
I
people
know.
and do
It's-
shit, man.
I'm like, what
Yeah.
are you doing, dude?
Yeah, I know. And I'll never not do it.
I know.
You
and it's
know.
beautiful.
Yeah,
You're like
so long
Dustin
as-
Poirier
yeah.
with the fucking guillotine,
Dude,
dude.
it doesn't-
I'll never not
I'll
do it,
never
dude.
not do it,
I'm
man.
going for it every time.
And majority of the time, you know, almost all of the time, I'm not doing it with expectations.
No.
And I'm not doing it in the end getting hustled either. I'm
Right.
doing it because somebody needs help.
Right.
And if I can go out of my way, which isn't really out of my way, it's not that big of a deal, to go help somebody, then that's going to carry on when I'm gone.
Right.
You know, so when I die, everybody's going to remember me and think about me and carry on my legacy and my name in their heart.
Yeah.
Unlike you.
Oh, damn, dude. Okay, unlike me, huh? I didn't see that one coming at all, dude. That's rude. Very rude. Yeah. I mean, I do a lot for people. You know what I mean?
No, you don't.
And those people are mostly myself.
Oh, yeah. Just fucking cussing out your class at work.
Hey, man,
Just
you know, it is what it is, dude.
You little idiots. I'm
It's
going
not
to
cussing
kill
out, man.
all
I'm,
you
I'm
guys.
fucking handing out life lessons here. You know what I mean? I'm handing out life lessons, dude. And that's fucking, it's really rude that you did that to me. It's fucking, that was wildly rude. We can have a funeral count. I'm gonna count. You know, I'm gonna be counting. I'm gonna be counting heads at the funeral.
Okay,
dude.
well then I'll talk.
you're dying,
I'll talk
like,
to
at
Courtney.
least 15
I'll
years
talk
before
to
me.
Courtney and make sure that Courtney's at yours, going, "Hey, Scout, just so you know,
Yeah.
there was more people at my dad's funeral."
If we're going for funeral count, dude, we're fucking on. Let's go, dude. Yeah.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had over 300 people at my 50th birthday.
That's beautiful, dude.
It was awesome. It was
Yeah.
the most amazing, incredible.
Yeah.
I was overwhelmingly grateful for
Yeah.
that. For quite until this day, I can still.
It's just that's
work a
the
tear out
exact
on that
opposite
day.
of me, though. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, nobody's
my-
showing up for your
my-
birthday.
well, that's
It'll
fine.
be you and
Yeah.
Scheimer.
Yeah.
You know, staring at
I
the
just-
bikes, wondering who.
As
has
I
the
get
tools.
older, I really don't fucking. I don't know if it's something wrong with me, but I am not nostalgic at all, dude. Like, I don't live for the past. I get really wincy, like when people say shit about, like, you know, like I had DJ also was like killing me at the bar the other night, dude, because he actually was like talking a lot of shit to me, to Rosie, which was like really it tickled me so hard. But I get really like, if people are like, "Oh, dude, your band," you know, whatever,
Yeah.
I just get like I want to crawl in my body because I'm not a nostalgic person. Like I don't look back and think ever that I've accomplished anything or anything like that. It's really
That makes
weird.
sense.
It really is like it's a weird fucking thing for me because
No,
even
not
my
really.
wife is like, dude, like these people are stoked. What? And I'm like, that's fine. Whatever, dude. Like it weirds me out in a
No,
weird
I know
way,
because
you know?
we all know I've said this a few
Yeah.
times, but the one and only time I got to see the Wrath was their
The
last
last
show.
show, yeah.
Supposedly, I think you played after that, but
I think we
was
played
it-
John's wedding, yeah.
But Bombay's,
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there watching you guys play and going,
What the?
"What the fuck? How is it? This is like,
Yeah.
like one of the, you know." And I love everybody else that plays in town, but a lot of the times, everybody's music is not necessarily what I enjoy.
Right.
I enjoy a certain type of rock and roll, and I enjoy
Sure,
hip hop,
yeah.
and both of those are not really distributed widely
Right,
throughout
right,
Ventura
right,
County.
right.
So I heard you guys, and I was just like, "God dang it,"
Hmm.
you know. And then later on, I meet him, and we get to know each other, and I'm like, "Oh shit, you're the guy that boned out and left us all missing the fucking Wrath."
Totally,
You-
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And then,
But I did it
But
for
every
a
time I've
reason,
ever
yeah.
said that to you, you do exactly that. You're like, "Yeah, well,
Well, because it's a
Yeah.
hard. Honestly, man, it's one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. I walked away from my fucking dreams.
yeah,
I made the decision to walk away from my dreams.
yeah," and then had a family. That's so.
Because I had a family.
Yeah.
And I was not going to raise my family like I was raised with no fucking
Yeah,
father.
yeah.
And that's like it hurt. So it's weird when people talk about the Wrath or whatever.
Yeah.
It like there's almost a little underlying that they don't understand because like bands may be important, music, whatever. It doesn't matter, but like for me, it was the hardest decision I've ever made. It's like probably, and I'm not correlating this at all, but Portia, when people come up and tell you how much blah blah blah, you know, you, like as a part of you, like you just get like, fuck, dude, like, because
it kind of, my whole
Yeah.
thing is it just makes me literally, I get the worst ticks
that's
and
that's
anxiety
yeah.
ridden.
That's
you know.
and I'm not, like I said, not even
No, I
fucking
know.
close.
No, it's not.
Not
it's
even
not,
close.
You
to
don't
the
even have
same
to say
thing.
that.
But
yeah,
I
get
walked
it.
away from my fucking
Yeah.
my whole entire life goal
for kids.
for my children, and I'm
kids.
100% in that decision.
Yeah.
And my life is incredible, and I'm so fucking happy.
Yeah.
So I think that's like, I was thinking about it the other day. That's what makes me wincy is like all these people will tell me like, oh, whatever, blah blah blah, the wrath, and I'm like, thank you, man. I really like, part of me is like, thank you so much that 10 years later you remember this fucking random band that did minuscule shit compared to the like big bands. But the other part of me thinks like, I walked away from my dreams. Like I fucking did it willingly, and I'll never ever hold my kids fucking responsible for it, or my wife, or any of that shit. It was my decision because
Yeah.
I refused to be a shit father.
Yeah.
So it gets me. That's what I think. I think I finally figured it out. And it's on me to like move forward from that, right? But as I get older in my life, I realize that I am very much the person that people come to with their shit
Yeah.
all the time, and that's
Yeah.
fine. Like, but as I become older and older and older, I realize that if there is no reciprocation, if I don't feel like I could trust that person with my shit, because I very rarely unload on anyone. You might be one of the only people. I got a couple very close friends that I will really tell my problems to. And anyone else, I'm like, nice to see you, dude. But I
Yeah.
will say that I ran it, like I went on Saturday, I had to work, and I went to see my buddy Trevor Beld, who is an incredible musician. He was in a band called Franklin for short with my friend Seth Pedersen.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Headcut now. They played at Topa Topa, and I ran into people that I hadn't seen in 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And it was really it was cool, man. Like, cause it was just like really cool to catch up with people like guys that I met, like I knew in the church, and like all this like random shit, man. And it was really nice to chat with people that you hadn't seen in that long, right?
Yeah.
And my friend Jesse that I ran to, that I know listens to the pod, he told me, because he lives in San Francisco, and he said we're fucking dead wrong and we're stupid about San Francisco. Which was funny.
As what?
Well, it was really funny. It was a funny conversation. He's all, I almost emailed you guys because you guys are talking so much shit about San Francisco. He's all, but you're right, but about the wrong things. You know what I mean? I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Because he lives there, and he's in
It's
it.
just like we've talked about LA.
You know what I
and
mean?
We've
Yeah,
talked
and that-
about
and
how
he was
much,
saying that too.
Because I hear people talk about LA all the
Yeah.
time, and every time I go there, I have a good time.
But I'm sure if we took a trip to San Francisco, we'd have a great
Let's go.
fucking time.
I'm
Yeah,
down.
we should.
Yeah, I'm fucking
But he
way
was
down.
like, it's so funny to me because you know, everyone reads the headlines of the shit piles and the blah, blah, blah. He's all, I live there every day, and
Yeah.
it's fucking fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's all, we're having a good time over there. You know? I was like, yeah. Because I asked him, I was like, how wrong are we about San Francisco? He's like, pretty wrong.
Yeah.
Pretty wrong. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that makes sense. But to catch
So
up
let's
with,
talk about how bad Ventura is right now.
well, Ventura,
you know, 'cause-
and we do live here. Yeah.
yeah, and it is fucking gnarly.
I'll tell you
bad.
what, I'm going to throw this out there right now. That Ventura Forward guy is annoying the fuck out of me right now. Have you seen that guy?
No, I don't pay attention to that shit,
buddy.
dude.
I don't want to talk too much about it because he seems like a nightmare, but he's annoying the shit out of me right now.
Yeah.
You hear me, buddy? Stop it. Calm down.
Yeah.
Take your bike helmet off and fucking chill out.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah.
All right. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, so now, Kenny, pan to me. Yeah, so hold on. So,
Did you? You rubbed him the wrong way?
So here's a surprise. Somebody else is annoying Craig so much that he's going to agitatingly say, fuck this guy in his helmet. He probably needs it because he can't walk straight, which is what I heard him say.
That's not what it's.
But I've listened to the guy. I appreciate what you have to say.
Oh,
Keep standing up
You're
for
gonna eat
Ventura.
those words, buddy.
Craig, back off, buddy.
All right. That's fine. Kenny, how'd you rub him the wrong way?
At an event, no comment.
All right,
Okay,
perfect.
good
Yeah,
call.
anyway.
Good call. Good
But
call.
yeah, as I get older, I realize like if you can't add value to my life, I'm not going the extra mile anymore. And
See,
that's
I don't,
just
but I
fucking-
don't. Yeah, but that to and to me that doesn't calculate, because it's not about adding value to my life. It's about if I can do something to help somebody,
Sure.
and it doesn't really make that big of a difference in what's
No,
going
that's a
on.
different
You know what I
animal,
mean?
yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
You know. I'm not as busy as you. You know, I run a bar and I cook for people and I
Mm-hmm.
work full time and I do a lot. But I'm not as busy as you. If you just ask you, if I can help somebody, I don't mind.
I don't mind
You
that
know what I
either.
mean?
Yeah.
But you do, because you talk about it constantly. How much
I
you
just
don't
don't
like people.
I'm not gonna
Do
I
anything.
I used to know a shitload of people, and I would be the guy that was like helping people move,
No,
and
no,
doing
no,
all
no.
this shit,
Okay,
and
so
fucking
there's-
doing that
there's-
thing. And so that's the
There's
types
things
of
that
things
I
I'm talking
don't
about.
do. There's definitely things I don't do.
Yeah.
One of
people
them is
move.
I don't
Yeah,
help people
totally.
move anymore.
Also, you're an adult person. Like,
Yeah.
don't ever ask anyone to help you move. I think I did it. The last time I ever asked anyone to help me move was when I lived in Lancaster. That was it. And I realized that this is daunting. And then the next time I moved, I paid my laborers overtime on payroll to fucking help me move.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's
You know what I
legal.
mean? Yeah, they were making fucking $60 an hour.
Yeah.
helping
Yeah.
me move.
Yeah.
But shit like that.
I moved. I was in Oakview, and I moved from Oakview to Oxnard,
right.
and I moved the house by myself
Jesus.
because I didn't want to ask anybody.
I
to help
know
me
it's a
move.
fucking nightmare.
And then as I'm moving all of it, I'm just running through all the times that I've helped
I know
people.
no one shows up.
Yeah, nobody. But I also, it was a
Yeah.
grow house, and I couldn't really have people show up, and there was other things going on, But yeah, it was a
Dude.
nightmare.
Speaking of moving, I am not moving well at all right now, dude.
A little sore.
I'm so sore.
Yeah.
I've been training for the 5K.
You're
in May.
gay in May.
I'm gay in May, dude.
Yeah.
And which I'm getting a shirt printed of your face that says "pussy," basically, that I'm gonna be running with the whole
I
time.
hope so, dude.
Oh, I'm getting.
And
it,
then
dude.
make
Yeah.
sure with a QR code that links straight to
Links
the
straight to
Jay's 5K in May.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but dude, running fucking sucks.
Dude, I
running
can't.
sucks so bad, dude. I have a bruised heel. I got shin splints right now,
Yeah.
and I'm doing pretty good, honestly. I'm like, I think here's what I've set for myself, because I'm wildly fat, and running is not my forte at all. But I started training about 6 weeks ago, which my wife is I haven't talked about this yet, but my wife is not stoked on me because I'm such a maniac that I sent her the link as soon as they announced where it was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be in LA. So for those of you who don't know, Two Bears One Cave is doing a 5K in May.
Yep.
They've been talking about it for
Poroso
months.
vodka.
Yeah, Poroso. They got a vodka launch, all kinds of shit. So they're doing this killer 5K event. A bunch of comedians are supposedly running. I don't know. We'll see. But you get to run the 5K. You get a Two Bears fucking medal for finishing. You get to drink beer and maybe taste vodka and shit like that, right? So I was like, that'd be cool, dude. Like, I need a challenge, right? And so they finally announced where it was, and I knew that there's no way you're doing it.
No.
Not at all, right? So I texted the link to my wife, and she's like, that sounds cool. And I was like, tight. So I immediately signed us both up. And I said, well, cool, we're doing it. And she's like, when is it? And I was like, May 7th. So we have a month to prepare for running a 5K, which
not
is
a problem.
3.1 miles.
You guys are young.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got plenty of time.
I got home and she's all, what the fuck is wrong with you? She's all, do you have reverse body dysmorphia? Where like you think you can do things that are
Yes,
just
you do.
wildly
You totally
out of-
do.
I'm like jujitsu, Muay Thai. Apparently I'm running a 5K. What the fuck, you
Yeah.
know? And so now, but it did get her motivated. So we've been running, dude. And I was shocked the first time I ran. I actually ran a mile, like an actual whole mile. It took me 15 minutes, but I ran a fucking mile, which I had never done in my entire life. But I think because jiu-jitsu, like the cardio for jiu-jitsu is
Helps.
gnarly,
Yeah.
dude. You're fucking dying. And now I can roll multiple rounds in a row. But I ran a mile. I was like, okay, I could fucking do this, dude. So I've set like a realistic goal for myself. Try to run it under 45 minutes, 15-minute miles. Today I hit a PR. I did two 13-minute miles. I was like, fuck, I can do this, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm dying.
I'm
dying.
I'm
dying.
I will look into buying an electric scooter.
You can get a spectator pass,
And
dude.
I'll get a spectator pass, and I'll get an electric scooter,
Yeah.
and I will scoot next to you with my GoPro.
Totally.
And completely encourage you
I'm
through
sure.
words
Sure
of
it'd be really
wisdom.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're doing the 5K in May, me and my wife.
May 7th,
May 7th.
Rose Bowl, Pasadena.
I think, Rose Bowl somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Is it the Rose Bowl or the Hollywood Bowl? I
I don't
know
think
where.
it's probably it's
I
got to be
gotta
the Rose
look.
Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just so focused on not dying
Yeah.
that but I'm dying. I'm literally I ran today, did a nice long bike ride, and then I did 20 minutes on the Peloton before I ran to warm up. And then I fucking ran 3 miles, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
I am so impressed that
dying.
you
I'm
use the
dying.
Peloton.
Yeah, I'm using it.
I knew that was a place to hang clothes.
Yeah, it was
You
for a
know,
long time.
yeah.
Well, we had the podcast in the garage. I didn't have any room for it, dude.
Yeah.
Now it's out front and center.
Yeah, because the Garage Podcast took up everything that
Listen.
you could not put the Peloton. You couldn't just uncover it and move it over 6 inches.
no.
Yeah,
It was really hard, dude.
Yeah,
It was really,
yeah.
really hard.
Yeah, I know it.
But
Yeah,
we're
man.
using it now.
I'm with you.
So there you go.
I've got a bicycle sitting in my garage that I go throw darts next to and look at the flat tires every day, going, "What the fuck?"
It's brutal, dude.
You paid a lot of money for that bike. It's
Yeah.
a nice bike.
Yeah. But I need a challenge. And my wife actually now is kind of stoked. She's like, I think I needed a challenge. I was
Good.
like, that's cool, dude.
Yeah.
Tight. Keep running.
Yeah.
And I realize
hammering.
I'm just running from my emotions, dude. That's it. I'm just running. I'm running from my life.
So basically, nothing new.
No, I started crying today while I was running, and I'm not sure even why. You know what I mean?
Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, that's probably because of the fucking the eclipse. You know, that's
Yeah.
what it was. My vagina got all weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Or your fat buddy.
Yeah.
think
I
it's-
started thinking about monster truck rallies.
Yeah.
And fucking started crying, dude. It's ridiculous. I don't know. So yeah, 5K May, dude. Let's do it. I'm going to come hell or high water, bruise heel, shin splints. My thighs are on fire. I could start a fucking full entire forest fire right
Yes.
now on my thighs.
Yes, it's
But
hot.
I'm fucking getting it. I got these short shorts on right now, dude. I can't believe you didn't say anything about my thighs yet. Look at these.
I did say something about your thighs.
You know what I mean?
It's hard to get past. You have more varicose veins than I've ever seen on a man under 50.
They're literally fighting for their lives for circulation. Anyway, so that's what's it. That's it. That's what
Awesome.
I'm doing.
Yeah.
We'll be doing it.
I'm really contemplating going.
You should.
Yeah, yeah.
should.
I'm not fucking running nothing.
That'd be
There's
awesome.
no way, but yeah, I'll come support for sure.
Thank you. That'd be
I'll hang out
super
with
sweet.
Bert with a fucking.
I guess we get cheap tickets to their shows
Yeah.
at the forum and shit.
I'll
so.
get a blue and white shirt. I'll just wear all blue and white and hold up a Greek flag.
There you
and
go.
every time you run by, I'll go Kasamas,
That's what's up.
Oompa.
Beautiful, dude.
Yeah, hand out shots of Uzo.
If I don't die first, I'll fucking be there, dude. So,
Dude,
fuck
if
it.
you, I'll bring a longboard.
Okay.
And if something happens, I'll just roll you onto the longboard and then attach it to my electric scooter,
Just
and then
drag
I'll
me
just
across
drag
the
you the
finish
rest of the way. Yeah.
I'm whipping Rosie's ass, which is also pissing her off, which is nice.
that's
I'll take a
gotta-
win
yeah.
any chance
Good.
I get.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, I think we're ready to get out of here, Kenny. What do you think?
57.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. I love you guys.
Love you guys, man. Hey, Por Vida.
Yeah. Yes.
Portia
Thank
Por
you.
Vida, dude.
Hey, if anybody has anything and you guys want to talk about it and you're having problems or issues and you're dealing with grief, you can reach out to me.
Right.
You find me on all the social media stuff, and if you DM me or whatever, I will respond and talk to you about it. I know how hard it is, but we can all get through it together, man. It ain't easy, but nothing in life is, man. I love you guys. Appreciate you. PB&J Por Vida.
That's right. Bye.